It is Tuesday, August 26th.
This is The Warning.
What's up with Trump's hand? His ankles. He's sick. It's obvious. What's wrong with him? The American people traditionally have had a right to know about the health of the chief executive officer, the President of the United States. But I guess it's a new age. Donald Trump yesterday said something that might have given it away a little bit. He said, some people say they'd like a dictator. I remember not so long ago when Donald said he'd just be a dictator for a day. But it seems perhaps the day whetted his appetite. Let's watch.
As you all know, Chicago's a killing field right now. And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him. Freedom, freedom. He's a dictator. He's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense and I'm a smart person.
There was this decree about flag burning. Of course, Donald knows that this creates a fight that's perfect for a demagogue like him because we live in an idiotized society, stripped of the ability to hold complex arguments. If it is not possible to explain what I'm about to try to, then it may be the case that we're just a couple seconds to midnight when it comes to freedom in this country, and there's nothing to stop the second hand from moving forward. I think that flag burning is a contemptible act, disgraceful. It breaks my heart. The only thing greater than desecrating the flag in that vile manner is burning what it stands for by singeing its ideas. And first and foremost, the American flag stands for freedom, and it stands for the Constitution of the United States. It stands for a government of the people, by the people, for the people, with a First Amendment. And that First Amendment guarantees the right to burn a flag if someone chooses to do it. It protects the most vile speech imaginable. Here's Stephen Miller celebrating the day's achievements on the propaganda show that's made Sean Hannity a very rich man. Here, Stephen Miller lies and paints a picture not of reality, not what's happening in Washington, but a reality, a delusion for the 69-year-olds snuggled back in their leisure chair watching Hannity from somewhere in the middle of the country.
All of these organized street gangs that are terrorizing these cities, that are dealing these drugs, that are trafficking weapons, that are engaging in organized theft, armed robbery, carjacking, all of them are doing business with, at some level or another, the transnational narco-trafficking organizations. So these street crews are engaged in material support for terrorism, which is the core function of the federal government to defend and protect. Well, President Trump has literally set the people of Washington, D.C. free. They're so happy now that they can just go out and live their lives, go to their favorite restaurant, go to their favorite bar, go to their favorite pool hall, go to their favorite park. You see moms taking kids out to parks they haven't been to in years because they know the police are there. They know that President Trump is there with his law enforcement to protect them. It's a thing of beauty, Sean. But I would say to the mayor of all these Democrat cities, like Chicago, what you are doing to your own citizens is evil.
These people soon will be watching Fox as the stories of the liberation of the cities begins to unfold, as National Guards from blue states are sent to the red states, 1 inch away from a type of civil war, from a line that is hard to uncross. All of it authored by Donald Trump and his minions and sycophants and the people who stand beside him. Obviously, this is crazy.
Just overflowing with gratitude because for the first time in their lives, they can use the parks, they can walk on the streets. You have people who can walk freely at night without having to worry about being robbed or mugged. They're wearing their watches again. They're wearing jewelry again. They're carrying purses again. People had changed their whole lives in this city for fear of being murdered, mugged, and carjacked. It is a literal statement that President Trump has freed 700,000 people in this city who were living under the rule of criminals and thugs.
The lies fundamentally about being the basis for Donald to claim power. And now the man who said, I want a Nobel Peace Prize, wants to change the Department of Defense to the Department of War, when according to news reports, he's signing secret findings, initiating a secret war in Mexico, in South America, and historically that's never gone well for the United States. But I'm sure with the genius in the Oval Office, it'll be different this time.
How do you plan to do that? It requires an act of Congress to rename the Defense Department to the Department of War.
We're just going to do it. I'm sure Congress will go along if we need that. I don't think we even need that, but if we need that, I'm sure Congress will go along. You know, that was the name when we won World War I, we won World War II, we won everything, and just to me seems like just a much more appropriate. The other is defense is too defensive. And we want to be defensive, but we want to be offensive too if we have to be. So it just sounded to me better, really like a better name.
Everywhere Donald Trump is asserting power he doesn't have. And everywhere the American people mostly are yawning through the summer. But soon, in a city near you, there's going to be a tank on the street. A man with a rifle, not over there, but here in a military uniform. And a lot of those people will be ignorant. They'll be looking for a fight. And they'll think, because they live in a world of algorithms and fantasy, that the people they're pointing the weapons at are their enemies, not their fellow Americans. And that pointing a gun at the people who live in those cities is the way to liberate them. Because Trump is great, and soon we all will. What a tragic moment this is. Not just for the United States, but all the world. What we are witnessing is the collapse of the greatest republic in the history of the world. Its failure and falling is not yet set in stone, but it is falling apart, and it is collapsing, and a dictator is rising. The checks and balances have become a punchline. The abuse of power, the self-enrichment, and the fact that mostly the things the Constitution says, the things that we thought were the rock, turned out to be, well, sandcastles. Sandcastles on the beach at Mar-a-Lago. Time is running out. It's running out to take a stand. Soon, there will be more knocks on the door. There will be more stories of people like John Bolton until there's too many to even notice. And then there'll be a draft to fill up the Department of War. Maybe the ranks of ICE. Nobody has told Trump no. Can't hear the word. Couldn't hear it when he lost an election. And now there's no one left to tell it to him, except for the American people, who don't seem too concerned at all. His approval ratings are dropping, yet the silence is deafening. The president says he wants to be a dictator and says out loud, let's watch.
As you all know, Chicago's a killing field right now. And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him, freedom, freedom. He's a dictator, he's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense and I'm a smart person.
That he's sending troops to a state near you if he doesn't like who you elected to lead your city or to lead your state. Anywhere there's black people or brown people, where there's an immigrant, there's an opportunity for Donald Trump to tell his sick lies and have them peddled out on his propaganda networks across the country about things that are not true, have not been true, and have never been true. And because of those lies that have strangled reality, we stand on the edge of some of the most dangerous days in this country in 160 years. Not good doesn't begin to describe where we are on this August 26th of 2025.
I'm Steve Schmidt. This is The Warning. I invite you to join this community where I promise to be honest, blunt, and direct about what is happening in this country. America is in crisis. Follow and subscribe to this channel and on Substack. Thank you.